Hey friends, you're watching BrainStorm Acres. I'm Henry. Yeah, you may wonder why I'm sitting in a truck and where we've been for the past couple of months with relatively little number of shows going on. Well, the answer is, first of all, we've had some technical difficulties between cameras and conversions between one video format and another, and at the end of it all, I have a lot of footage that was spoiled for a bunch of different reasons, but spoiled nonetheless. Irene's been extraordinarily busy dealing with the greenhouse while I've been doing things in the house. We had a lot of business filings to take care of, which have been done now, which is good. In the meantime, it's been pretty windy. We've had one day in the past 4 weeks where we haven't had winds above 15 miles an hour. 15 miles an hour is a pretty strong wind. The problem with it is that I can't do any kind of garden cleanup burning, because if the fire gets away from me and I have to have the fire department come out, the charge will be substantial, because when you have a fire start out in the pucky brush around here, you're responsible for the cost of putting it out. I don't want to be doing that, so I'm just not going to be running fires when there's a real chance of a fire getting away from me. Along the way, we've also had a number of unexpected trips going to Flagstaff. Every time I go to Flagstaff, it's at least 6 or 7 hours out of the day. We had a surprise, unexpected, and very welcome visit with our primary care health provider. We had asked about when they were going to have the ability to do some cryoablation. So that's freezing things that need to be gotten rid of. And I have a few spots on my arms that have had some precancerous growths on them, and I contacted them and said, well, when are you going to have liquid nitrogen next? And they said, well, funny you should ask, because we have it right now and we could get you in tomorrow. So instead of doing what I'd planned to do, which was actually do some filming on the Tuesday, we went to Flagstaff. And yes, we spent the entire day in Flagstaff. And then yesterday, Tuesday, we had to take our cat up to the vet. Well, Issa's a funny cat, and she started behaving a little oddly, kind of crying and caterwauling. And we said, well, we'll see if we can get her up in the next couple of weeks. And our luck was interesting, because Irene called and they said, well, we can get her in tomorrow, Tuesday. Which meant that we went to Flagstaff again. Now, when we go to Flagstaff, because it's a long drive, we always do some other things. So yesterday we did some shopping at a big box store, actually 3 big box stores. Got some lunch, did the vet visit, which was an hour and a half because we had to wait for some lab results to come back. The good news is she's about 9 years old, and she's getting some arthritis in a couple of joints. So that's probably part of what's going on. The other thing is she had a little bit of an infection going on, so we have some antibiotics to give her for that. Rufus was great when we went to the vet. He came in with us. And it's funny because Issa calmed down and she just treated everything as normal business, because her big brother was there to help take care of her. So she was relaxed, she was calm, and she let the vet do the things the vet had to do. We got some blood work done just to make sure, and everything else came out fine, so we're just treating her with antibiotics. Right now I'm sitting by our gate. The winds dropped down to about 15 miles an hour, pretty much steady state. The wind speed will drop down as the day goes on, which is really good because we need some better behaved wind. And that means I may be able to do some burning tonight. Really, the best times for me to burn are either early evening or very early in the morning. So I'll see if that works tonight. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing some replacing of stuff in our gate opener. Well, my job today is to start taking this controller apart. I have a replacement board to go in it. It's inside this weatherproof. Oops. There are batteries and a control board, plus all the electrical connections for this gate opener inside this box. It's a weatherproof box. We'll look at the seal and see how weatherproof it still is. Beautiful day. I just wish it hadn't been this windy all day long. The problem with this kind of wind is some of the work I need to do, like on the vehicles, is difficult to do when you have a 20-mile-an-hour steady breeze and gusts to 30 miles an hour. That means that the hood of the vehicle can pick up and come down. And we have a helicopter going overhead. This should be the last screw that I have to loosen. I'm going to try to take it off and I'll be right back. I bought a new battery to replace these two batteries right here, and turns out it looks like the original control board may still be good. And the problem with it is that when I was trying to get the gate to close correctly, it would not close correctly. That far gate was not coming back at the time it was supposed to, which means the gate wasn't actually working. So now I'll pull these batteries out and see if I can get things to start working. Well, I had this driveway coated with some cinders. Those are the orange colored rock-like things in the driveway. That was about 6 years ago, I guess, maybe a little bit more. And we've had a little bit of water happen. When we have a large amount of rain at one time, you do get some washing around the edges of the driveway. And it starts filling in with sand and silt. in the studio today. I don't know if she's there or not. I had to go to town to pick up a few things. But if she is, Rufus will be saying I have to go see Dad because he hears the truck and he wants to come up to the house. What's the status of the Range Rover? Well, obviously been able to move it, which is not a particular problem. But I've so far diagnosed the problems in the air ride to the controller, which I was able to reset with a new tool that I acquired. And then I've been tracking down the leaks in the air system. The problem now is something you don't think about a whole lot. You don't think about how things are interconnected in the modern world a lot of times. And one of the things is the United States has been enacting and unenacting trade tariffs on a lot of different countries for a lot of different products. Well, one of the things that happened was that Jaguar Land Rover decided to stop shipping parts to the United States. Which means if you own a Range Rover and you need an OEM part, good luck. And that's part of what's going on now. I'm now looking for some used parts. There's a few auto dismantlers that handle these cars, so I'm going to them to see if I can get parts. And yes, Irene was down in the studio working on waxes. And Rufus came up because that's what Rufus does. All time to go in the house and see what's going on. Oh, I just got home from my trip into the post office, and Irene said there's a problem with this wax machine. So I'm taking a look at it right now. I think the only issue was that there was not sufficient air pressure going to the machine. I'd set up the air pressure for the small wax injector over there, but this machine takes a lot more pressure, so I've just cranked the pressure up on the new compressor and it looks like it's probably going to work. So I'm going to give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. Well, we'll see if we inject any wax into this mold. We got wax. Looks like the problem may be resolved. I'll try another one. Now, if we were doing this in the right way, we'd be making individual holders for each of these molds. But because we have so many different molds with different size molds, we just place the rubber mold on that piece of plywood and put it in. And it looks like we got some decent fill on this one. Irene will have to check all this out. And it looks like problem solved. Well, these things happen. So I was gone for probably an hour and a half or 2 hours, and Irene had this problem almost right away. So unfortunately, if I'd been here to start with, I'd have been able to fix this for her right away. So I'll let her come down and start doing some waxes and see what she has to say.